What's up? Good morning. Happy Monday. We get another week for building the lives and the careers that we want and deserve. And so I'm extremely excited to share with you 3 principles to win the morning. Now, I'm sure that you've heard you should have a morning routine. Well, what does that mean? What does that look like? And so in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you, I've spent a lot of time researching, understanding how do the most successful people in the world perform? How do they do what they do? What do their mornings look like? What do they do personally and professionally in order to consistently hit those high levels of performance? And if you look at the morning routines, there are 3 things that almost all of them contain, and they're in a specific order. And so by the end of this video, you're going to understand what are these 3 principles that go into the morning routine, in which order, so that you set yourself up for an incredibly high performing day. So whatever it is that you do, wherever you are in your career or in your life, if you build out a morning routine with these 3 principles in this order, you will absolutely begin maximizing your performance and transforming how well you do in whatever it is that you do. Because if we win the morning, we will win the day. It sets us up both physically and mentally to perform at a higher level. So with that, let's get into it. All right, so the first morning principle is physical, which is turning our body on. It means moving. It means doing a workout. And it could be lifting weights, going for a run, swimming, rowing, any type of cardio. Or it could be a high intensity interval training, something like burpees, jumping jacks, sit-ups, pull-ups. I mean, it could be whatever it is. It just needs to move your body and turn your body on. And this has to come first. The very first thing we want to do when we wake up is turn our body on. Now, I've laid out kind of 4 main reasons why we want to do that. So the first part, actually, before I dive into that, there's something called the circadian rhythm, and you might have heard of this, but it's really our sleep pattern. And so this circadian rhythm, why this is important is it's really the regulation of our hormones, and in terms of going to bed and waking up. So when we wake up, or when our body thinks that we're waking up, our body naturally starts producing cortisol, which is what wakes us up. And then when it's time to go to bed, well, then our body starts releasing melatonin, letting us know, hey, it's tired, we're tired, time to go to sleep, let's go to bed, let's get some rest. Now, when someone doesn't have a sleep pattern, and that's one of the other things, is you need to target 7 to 8 hours of sleep. If you're just physically exhausted because you're not sleeping, it doesn't even matter. You can't think straight when you're tired. And research studies have shown tired drivers are even worse and more horrible than drunk drivers. And that you have, an enormous amount of the workforce who are so tired and they're trying to, output good work product. You can't think creatively if there's no juice in the brain. So we need sleep. So you want to target 7 to 8 hours of sleep, but even more importantly is it needs to be a consistent timing, because that's going to regulate when is our body releasing cortisol and when is our body releasing melatonin. Now, when we wake up, our body's not going to immediately begin producing cortisol and then wake us up. That's why we need alarm clocks. A natural wake up is when your body knows, all right, there's sunlight, naturally begins waking us up. So when we have alarm clocks, it means that our body's not yet producing cortisol. And so I'm going to focus on this one right here, but when you work out in the morning, your body will naturally begin producing adrenaline, cortisol, and all sorts of other hormones that it vitalizes us, it wakes us up, it gives us focus, attention. And so that's going to impact our blood chemistry, because once those hormones are put into our bloodstream, and this kind of leads to this, is our bloodstream, our circulatory system, is the highway system within our body. It's what transports all the nutrients, all the oxygen, as well as the carbon dioxide and all the bad stuff, the cellular waste, out of our body and throughout our body. So our blood system, whatever's in our blood will affect not only every cell within our body, but our brain as well. And so when we're doing something physical and turning our body on, it means that we're going to be huffing and puffing, and we're going to be breathing deeply very rapidly. And so what that's doing is it's massively increasing the amount of oxygen that we have in the morning, and it's affecting the hormones that are being produced in our body. So that's why you feel so good when you work out in the morning. And if you've worked out in the morning, which I'm sure you have at least once in your life, if not, you got to try it out. It's pretty good. But if you've worked out at least once in your life in the morning, you typically had a great day thereafter. And it's because you were so focused and so productive in the morning, and after you've won the morning, you feel so good, you want to keep going. That's why we have great days in the morning, or that's why we have great days when we work out in the mornings. We're fully awake. So the oxygen and the hormones will make us feel alert and completely focused, and we can actually get some of the best work that we need done in that first, 8 a.m. to noon. Now, then there's the third part, and this is more in terms of like a holistic health side, but overall cellular health and longevity. So cellular health, our cells require very specific things in order to be healthy. Well, first it needs nutrients and oxygen and water. I mean, we have to have those three. And then it needs to be able to excrete the cellular waste, dead cell proteins, and the carbon dioxide, and anything else stuck in those, and those get released out. Now, when those go into the bloodstream, we also have what's called the lymphatic system, or the immune system is a part within that. So it's in order to get rid of the cellular waste, and in order to fully nutrient, or to allow our cells to be able to absorb and get all the nutrients and the oxygen that they need, we have to be able to move the blood, and we need to move that blood rapidly. Now, if we live a very sedentary lifestyle, if we don't work out consistently, our cells are not getting the oxygen or the nutrients that they need in the doses that they need, and they might not be able to excrete the waste, and they can't, because our blood system has a heart. We have a heart that pumps the blood. Our lymph system does not have a pump. And so what we need to do is we have to physically move our body to move lymph throughout our body, which is what cleans our body. We need to move lymph, and the only way to do that is through moving our muscles, our bodies. Well, there's no better way to do it than to move our bodies, through working out, through doing something. And that's why if you look at the cause of death for athletes, significantly less, athletes die significantly less of anything cardiovascular related, because their bloodstreams and their cells are significantly healthier, like heart attacks. How many athletes die of heart attacks as compared to the average overweight, unhealthy, sedentary lifestyle person? And if you look at the statistics, it's very different. And it's because they've been, through their exercise, through athleticism, they've been taking care of their bodies. All right, so that's a sidebar, but overall cellular health and longevity, you will live longer and be much healthier, because at a cellular, it's not about your physique, it's not about looking good. Like, sure, that's a side benefit, but by working out, you will live longer, and you will live a lot longer, because your cells at the cellular level, your cells are healthier. So that is a major focus. And then the last part is just overall alertness and function. Why do we yawn when we're tired? We yawn when we're tired because we're trying to stay awake, and our brains are like, hey, if I'm going to stay awake right now, I need more oxygen to keep this thing going. That's why we yawn when we're tired. We need more oxygen. So if we're not doing something to wake us up and get that oxygen in the morning, our brain is just foggy, brain fog, we're tired, we can't think straight, we're not creative, we forget things. It's because our brain isn't functioning at 100%. So we need to turn the brain on. So if you want this single point alone, if you begin working out in the morning, you will massively transform your day and your overall performance in everything, and you'll just be happier. So this is priority number one. Begin the day with a workout. Turn your body on. All right, so now that brings us to the second morning principle, which is the mental part. So after we've turned the body on, we then need to turn the mind on. And so the reason kind of these 3 points here, so attitude, mindset, and long-term focus / goals, that is the purpose of this second part of the principle. The mental part is we want to recalibrate our attitude, our mindset, and our long-term focus / goals every single morning. Now, we don't just wake up and instantly remember everything that we believe, that we value, how we view the world, how we think about our life, what we're focused on, why it's important to us, who we believe we are. Like, our beliefs, our values, our identity, our goals, like, even though we know them, it's so easy to forget. Our memory is not that good. And so that's why we have, computers with databases and information, because we forget so often. That's why we have journals and planners and literally a million tools to help us organize, because we forget things. And if we do remember them, they're oftentimes biased or skewed based on whatever we believe or how we perceive the world. So when we wake up, think of it as like you turn your body on, your body's turned on, you worked out, you come back, and now your mind's kind of all over the place. What we need to do is we need to like snap your head back into focus. And the way that we do that is through focusing on the mental part. So the attitude, that's where if you've heard people talk about gratitude in the morning or talking about things that you're thankful for, talking about the things that you take most personally and in terms of pride or thankfulness or love, affection, like what are the things that put you in a good mood? And you need to review those every single morning because that's the basis of your emotion for that day. If you wake up and you're stressed or anxious or angry about something that's happening or you're frustrated, it's if you don't recalibrate your emotions that day, the rest of your day is going to be frustrated, anxious, stressed, angry, like those toxic, negative, really totally unproductive emotions, unless they're channeled properly, which most people don't channel them properly, but they then taint and affect the entire rest of your day because you didn't recalibrate. So in that morning, you need to start by setting your attitude. And the way that you do that is through actively reviewing a list of things that you're either grateful for, extremely excited about, you're looking forward to, you can't imagine living life without, if it's relationships or people. Put yourself in a good state. No one's responsible for our emotions other than ourselves. Our emotions are our choice. What we focus on and what we think about and what things mean to us are what affect our emotions, determine our emotions. And a lot of people say, oh, well, I'm angry or I'm pissed off because of that person. You chose that. Other people wouldn't have been upset or pissed off or frustrated or angry. They could have chosen a different response. So we need to choose our emotions every single morning because how we feel emotional will affect everything that we do that day. So then the next part is mindset. And that's again going into your beliefs, your values, and your identity. So your beliefs are, what do you actually believe is possible? You need to remind yourself what you believe every single morning because if you forget what you believe, all of a sudden doubt and uncertainty start creeping in. When you begin doubting yourself or you feel uncertain about something, you stop taking action because you no longer believe in it or you forget that you believe in it. So you need to remind yourself, and I know this sounds corny. I know this sounds incredibly cheesy and people are like, you go through a list of what you believe in the morning? Yes. Did I create that? No. It's been around for thousands of years. And if you really think about it, even the religious texts, like regardless of what religion you are, why do people read those texts every single morning if they're very devout in their religion? It's a set of beliefs. It's a set of values. It's recalibrating that person's mind and reminding them, this is what I believe. This is what I value. This is who I'm becoming, the man or the woman I am becoming. And it's a reminder of what is actually important in life. If we lose the big picture, if we lose the big picture in the morning, the whole day is a waste. Like why are we alive in the first place? What are we here for? What are we around for? And that's why a lot of people believe it's just another day. It's just another day because you don't know where you're going. You don't know what's important to you. You don't have long-term goals. So we need to remind ourselves every single morning, why am I here? What is the purpose here? What am I trying to achieve in my life? Who is the man or the woman that I am becoming? Because I'm not going to become that man in a day or a month or even a year. Like it's going to take decades to become that man, to be able to achieve those things, to do and make that impact on the world. And in order to put ourselves in the mental state that today is important, we have to be able to review what am I actually trying to achieve in my life? Where am I trying to go? So when you review things that make you feel good, because you want to feel good in the morning emotionally, and you remind yourself, who is the man or woman that I am? What do I believe? What do I value? And who am I trying to become in the future? And what is that person making an impact? And that's really what your long-term focus / goals is what are your long-term goals? And think of those as 3, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years out. Remind yourself, your life is a skyscraper and you need to build it floor by floor by floor, and it's going to take a very long time. Every single morning, we need to remind ourselves of the vision of the entire building, not just whatever floor it is that we're working on. So that's principle number 2. We need to recalibrate ourselves and snap ourselves into focus every single morning. All right, so now the third principle that we need every single morning is the one that you're probably most familiar with, which is focused priorities or having an agenda for the day. Now, there's a small phrase that I learned from a guy named Sam Ovens, who's been incredibly successful. But Sam Ovens taught me something that was called plan tomorrow today. So plan tomorrow today. Very simple phrase, but that phrase changed my life because it forced me into a habit of knowing when I wake up the next day, I'm not thinking about what am I gonna do. It's I wake up, I turn my body on, I immediately turn my mindset on, and then I've already planned the day. And it's not just him. I mean, if you look at any of the quote personal development gurus or really just any business leader or politician or people who are very successful, they wake up and they know what they're supposed to do that day. And they wake up and they begin executing. They wake up, they begin executing. They're not waking up and going, okay, what do I do today? It's they put themselves in a mindset, in a physical state to perform, and then they immediately take that energy and that focus and begin performing immediately. It hits 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock or whenever it is that they start their day, and boom, they're doing work and they're focused and they do not let other people distract them unless it's a prioritized meeting or urgent or whatever. So plan tomorrow today, which means that the night before you want to go through 2 different things for the following day. Now, really what I preach to people is we don't want to just plan our days. We want the year and then the month and then the weeks and then the day. So, but for this video, we're just focusing on the day. So the night before. So let's say today's Monday. So tomorrow, you could do this for tomorrow. For Tuesday morning, that means that on Monday night, you're doing plan tomorrow today. And what you're going to be thinking through are the outcomes and tasks. So tomorrow, Tuesday, what are the 3 to 5 most important things that must get done, achieved, completed by the end of day tomorrow? Those are your outcomes. They're things that you can say done. And they're things that move the needle forward. They're important. And you could have 20, 30, 40, 50 tasks in a day. You cannot do 20 really important things in a day unless you have a big team helping you. But you individually by yourself really cannot do more than 3 to 5 really important things in a day. And so that's how I want you to differentiate between outcomes and tasks. Outcomes are very important things that they usually take some time to achieve. Tasks are usually things that are done in order to achieve the outcomes. And so this is a to-do list. Tasks are to-do lists. Those are great. You still need those. But when you're planning tomorrow today, you want to know both. So when you wake up, you know, all right, what are the 3 to 5 things I must get done today? And then you want to ask yourself, all right, what are all the things I need to do in which order? Which is then the next part. So priorities or prioritization. So when you have your outcomes and tasks, call this maybe 3 to 5. And then in order to achieve these 3 to 5 things you might have, call it 10 to 20 over here. 10 to 20 tasks. Well, what you want to do is prioritize these outcomes first, because these outcomes will directly affect which tasks do you focus on the next day. So if you know that you have 5 outcomes here, 3, 4, 5, all right? So if you have 5 outcomes here, you might know that, all right, this outcome is the absolute most important. That one must get done first. And then let's say you have 2, 3, 4, and 5. Well, you don't want to just chuck all these tasks onto a to-do list, which I'm sure you don't anyways. But what a lot of people don't do is they don't prioritize their outcomes. They just say, all right, 3 to 5 things need to get done today. Okay, I'll just do whatever I feel like doing first, without asking themselves which is most important. So you want to put the most important one first, and then obviously 3, 4, 5. Well, what this does is when you order your outcomes like this, immediately what you're going to do is you're also going to be prioritizing your tasks. Now, there are often times where you get interrupted by other people, or something happens that day where you're not able to get all 5 done. Well, that's okay, because maybe you get interrupted and you're still able to get 1 through 3 done, and 4 through 5 now got punted into tomorrow or next week or whatever. Well, that's okay, because they were less important than 1 through 3. But what happens oftentimes is a lot of people don't prioritize what they do first in the day, and then second and then third. They just kind of say, all right, all these things need to get done without any priority. And then at the end of the day, they end up realizing, oh my gosh, I did not get X thing done that needs to get done in like 2 days. And now they're stressed because they know that they worked on something that was less important. Even though it got done, they're now still stressed and uncomfortable because the most important thing didn't get done. And oftentimes, the most important thing is oftentimes the hardest. And what a lot of people do is they put off the hardest thing in order to focus on easier, simple things so they can feel accomplished and achieved, like, oh, I did good work today, but they secretly know in the back of their mind, I really should have been focusing on this one. So you want to prioritize your outcomes, put them in order, and then that's going to prioritize your tasks. When you wake up tomorrow morning, you should know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in exactly which order you're going to be doing things. You wake up, you turn your body on, you refocus, put your head mentally in the right state, and then when you're ready to start work, you immediately know step by step what you're going to be doing that day. So these are the 3 core principles that if you begin to form a morning routine so that you know that in the morning, because this third one, you're planning it the night before, but in terms of your morning routine, you review that right before you start your day. And then that way you can ask yourself, does this still make sense? Is this still how I want to do my day? So you wake up, you turn the body on, then you turn your mind on, and then you review your day's outlook in terms of your tasks and your outcomes, and immediately begin performing. So I hope you found this helpful. I encourage you, build a morning routine and begin following it religiously, consistently. If you work 5 to 6 days a week, do it 5 to 6 days a week. If there's one day off, I still recommend do your best to follow that sleep pattern though, because what a lot of people do is on the weekends, they'll work 5 days a week, and then on the weekends, they completely blow up their sleep patterns, and then they're exhausted Monday and Tuesday. They usually skip the workout or they do, and all of a sudden their whole morning routines gets blown up. And because they keep blowing it up every single week, it never becomes a habit. It takes, on average, between 66 to 200 and, I think it's like 220 to 60, I don't know the exact base number, but it's a lot of days. And I think it's like 264 days, something like that. For some reason, that number's coming to mind. But it's like 66 to 264 days. That's how long it takes for your body to actually build a pattern in terms of a neural pathway and a muscular response to things, or a nervous system response to things. So this takes a long time. So you need to create the morning routine and then religiously follow it so that it becomes a building block for success in your life. So I wish you all the best. Make it an outstanding week, and I'll see you next Monday.